Shout out to Justice for All for sending me this particular story right here. And this is more of an update involving this chick, Hannah Payne, better known as the female George Zimmerman. And it's crazy because I was one of the first people to say that this whole thing reminds me of George Zimmerman all over again. And it seems like a lot of other people are starting to call it that. That's not a title that one would want, considering this is George Zimmerman we're talking about. But when you look at the information in the background of this case right here, it lines right up with it, like down to a T almost. The only difference is it happened in a different location and it involved the opposite gender. That's about it. So Hannah Payne, the update is that her trial will begin on February 6th, 2020. It was actually set to start a little bit sooner, but they said one of the witnesses, one of the material witness for this particular case is on medical leave. So that's why they had to push the date back, because material witness, that's someone that they need to be there at all times when they're needed. So they pushed the trial back to get started on February 6th, because I believe it was supposed to start like much sooner than that. And it's crazy how time just flies by, because this particular shooting happened in May of this year, and here we are in December when this whole thing is, when this announcement comes about. But she's sticking to the whole thing that I think she said she feared for her life or something or another, or she's pleading not guilty. I'm going to just go ahead and read this article. It says, Hannah Payne, the woman who allegedly followed a man having a diabetic crisis, then shot him in a confrontation over a fender bender with another vehicle because the bitch would not mind her business, will not face a jury before February 2020. Acting District Attorney John Fowler requested a continuance because Georgia Bureau of Investigation Medical Examiner Dr. Stacey Desamores, a material state witness in the case, is on medical leave. The case is on the jury trial calendar for February 2020 at 9 a.m. For room 402 before Clayton County Superior Court Judge Shauna Rooks Malone. Payne is charged with 2 counts of felony murder, 1 count each of malice murder, aggravated assault and false imprisonment, and 3 counts of weapons possession during the commission of a crime in the May 7th shooting death of Kenneth Herring, age 62. Herring died of a gunshot wound to the chest after Payne allegedly followed Herring for a mile in traffic, despite a 911 operator directions not to do so, then confronted him with a pistol in her hand after Herring struck another vehicle. That, like I said, that whole thing plays out just like George Zimmerman. That's why they call her the female George Zimmerman. Now, I don't know if y'all know, but a mile is actually a pretty good distance when you're walking. Let me give you paint a picture of how long a mile is. When I go to the gym and I do cardio, a mile for me on the treadmill at a 10 incline on a 3.5 speed takes 20 minutes to do, roughly around. That's just giving you a rough, giving you what a mile is at that walk speed on that incline. So a mile driving has some distance to it. Of course, you'll get a mile clear much more faster driving than you would walking. But still, she followed him for a mile. Even George Zimmerman didn't follow Trayvon Martin that far, mainly because they was in the same complex. But this chick followed this man for a mile to confront him for something that happened between him and another driver, which they're probably going to have him be as a witness too, 9 times out of 10. The person who Kenneth Herring hit, he's most likely going to have to testify as well, because he was there. But this chick was the fact that she did that should make, if it was me, clear, open and shut case, guilty across the board. But, it's not up to me. Payne's attorney, Matt Tucker, has said she was acting in self-defense. Fowler said Herring may have been trying to drive himself to the hospital during what first responders say may have been a diabetic emergency. Clayton County Police Detective Keon Hayward testified that a 911 operator had repeatedly told Payne not to follow Herring, and that an EMS worker believed Payne was having a diabetic crisis. After the shooting, he said Payne told the 911 operator that Herring had shot himself with her gun. which has been proven to be a lie. Although police say Payne had a Georgia weapons carry license, which allows the holder to carry concealed weapons, she likely had it for less than a year due to her age. Georgia residents must be 21 to hold a WCL. Those who are at least 18 in the military can also hold a WCL. Payne's family has said she has carried a gun for protection, just everyday protections. You know, the society that we live in. You hear about it every day on the news, said Payne's mother, Margaret. Innocent people are getting shot. Innocent people are getting broken into. Georgia law, which includes a stand your ground provision inside one's home, allows the use of force in defense of oneself or another. However, the law does not allow someone to provoke someone else as an excuse to inflict bodily harm, which is what she did. It also does not allow someone to start a fight to use force unless he withdraws from the encounter and effectively communicates to such other person his intent to do so, and the other, notwithstanding, continues or threatens to continue the use of unlawful force. Christine Herring, Kenneth Herring's widow, has told the news Payne was trying to act like the police, which she was. She and several other members of the Herring family filed letters with the court asking that Payne be denied bond, which unfortunately did not happen because, see, they tried. I remember the first time that she posted bond, then they got her on the new charge and she was back in jail, and then she had posted another bond even though they increased it. So right now, I don't even think she's in jail. I think she's like on house arrest right now, if I'm not mistaken. Kenneth Herring's sister, Jacqueline, asked the judge to consider the nature and circumstances of these charges, especially the offenses involving violence. Please also examine the weight of the evidence against her. I also believe that there is a likelihood that she will behave improperly given the suspicions over what motivated her actions in which she is accused. During the bond hearing, Tucker described Payne as a hardworking, all-American girl. You know, they got to throw all of that in there. Who had been trying to put her life back together since the shooting. A lifelong resident of Georgia, lived in Fayette County, went to Fayette County High School, he told the court. All 4 years was in the marching band, never has gotten a ticket, never has gotten arrested, never had any problems with law enforcement until recently. It's funny, she hasn't had all of that, but the minute that she gets in trouble, she kills a black man. What does that tell you? Payne was granted bond twice, on September 27th and then again on October 1st, when 2 additional charges raised her total bond to $320,000. Both times Judge Malone imposed special conditions, that Payne wear an ankle monitor and observe a 9 p.m. curfew. She remains free as of press time. So she's not even on house arrest. Because if she was, they would have said so. So she's actually able to roam freely as long as she is in her home by 9 o'clock. She probably can't leave her house until a certain time either. But the fact of the matter is, she's not confined to her home. So she can probably just walk. Well, I'm not going to say she can walk around aimlessly, but if they don't talk about her enough, like George Zimmerman, she can walk around pretty much freely. Tucker said his client was not a menace to society as people want to portray her. I beg to differ. I highly beg to differ. She's a young individual that got on the phone with 911 and thought she was helping out, adding, at her age, she learned a very valuable lesson. See, they're coming up with a defense now or excuses now to throw at the jury now. So when that time comes, they'll have their stories together to try to get her off. Fowler said he expects there will be a trial. It's just one of those cases where the defendant thinks that she did absolutely nothing wrong. And she does think she did nothing wrong. She went and flat out said that Kenneth Herring was shot himself with her gun, that basically is trying to imply that he tried to take the gun from her and that she was acting in self-defense. But they did and dusted the prints of the gun, and nowhere were his handprints on the gun. Nowhere. The only prints that were on the gun were hers the entire time. They should get her online. I don't know what kind of charge that would be. I don't even know, that could be one of the charges that are listed. But this bitch flat out lied and tried to throw it back on him. But we'll see what happens. I'll talk to you all in the next one.